This is the story of Gulliver the Seagull, the bird accused of espionage. Gulliver wasn't just any seagull, of course, and we don't really know if his name was Gulliver, but for this story's sake, we might as well run with it. Now, Gulliver was part of a special project in Sweden, one of many projects where birds have their migratory patterns tracked. This specific project tagged around 150 seagulls with trackers to figure out where they go when they vanish across the horizon. Birds get different kinds of trackers attached, you see. Some get leg bands, some get radio transmitters, and others get GPS backpacks. They all weigh less than about 5% of the bird's body weight, and the radio transmitter that's glued on to the feathers of the birds, they just fall off when the bird molts. This is what Gulliver probably had, and it's also what was going to get him into trouble. So our guy Gulliver gets his little radio transmitter glued on, and off he goes, right? You see, Sweden in the winter is exactly as miserable as it sounds. So seagulls do what smart creatures do. They migrate. Some head to Spain, others to North Africa, and a few cross the equator. Gulliver happened to be one of those. He went south. He went far south. Unfortunately, so did his situation. He probably had a nice couple of weeks going down and hanging around in the south of Africa until it was time to head back. He had a journey over several weeks and about 4,000 miles ahead of him, so a long trip ahead. You see, on his return, he made one big mistake. Landing in Ethiopia. Now, for this next bit to make sense, you need to know a little bit about the history and relationship between Ethiopia and Egypt. It's somewhat complicated, you could say. So, locals noted the antenna on the back of this bird and they caught him. You see, a bird with an antenna sticking out of the back is somewhat suspicious after all. And after a bit of prodding and poking, they quickly decided this had to be some form of advanced electronics, and obviously it had to be a spy, right? Now, the locals needed to find out where Gulliver came from. Luckily, the equipment was marked, and they decided, okay, so let's contact the person on the equipment. They started by sending emails, a whole bunch of them, but alas, no answer. Back in Sweden, the researcher responsible for tracking the project, he's going about his day, drinking coffee and looking at data from different transmitters on birds when emails in a foreign language start piling up. In fact, he got hundreds of them. He ignored the first ones, but as they just kept coming in, he decided, okay, let's try to translate one. Turns out, this was no claim your prize type email. Gulliver, he was under investigation, suspected of being a spy in fact, either from Eritrea or Egypt. They weren't familiar with the tracking device and didn't want to take any chances. Now, animal espionage isn't exactly new. There have been actual cases where countries accused birds or even squirrels of spying. Now, the researcher, realizing one of his birds might be in actual trouble, immediately replied to the emails explaining about the project, how the science worked, and telling them to let the bird go. And then, silence. He never got a reply. The sender stopped transmitting. Whether the battery died, the tracker was removed, or something worse happened to the bird, we just don't know. Gulliver's vanished. All that's left of him is the data that he gave us, and the fact that for a brief moment in time, he was in fact a feathery international incident.